There we go. Welcome, ladies, to our membership meeting on January 19th. And I'm just going to go over what we're doing as a chapter and behind the scenes. We're also in the process of getting a video together with the board, talking about what we've been doing behind the scenes and getting it, getting it out to y'all as it's separate email and video to kind of let y'all know we're still working as hard as we can to kind of keep us going. Renewal was very hard on us, but we weren't the only ones all around the nation. It was very hard. It was collectively a 60-40, 60 renewed, 40 did not percents around the United States. So we were at 66%. So still, we still want to make sure that we're giving things that people want and offer them what they need and things like that. So with that being said, I'm going to go on to our committees. And y'all have seen this before. Jennifer Costello is our treasurer, Tiffany Wondrow is membership and marketing, Stacy Downs and Rebecca Woods are PD&E, Jennifer Camargo is nominating, Memory is our WIC Week chair, Sandy Wick is our civic chair, and then Mary Craven is Block Kids. And if any of y'all want to join one of these women would be more than happy for y'all to help. And I forgot to put it on there again. Shoot. Safety committee is also Kelsey Unland. So the audit and finance committee, the October, November, and December financials have all been approved by the board. The budget was also reviewed. Let me see if I can put y'all on top. We as a board went through the budget and reviewed it, what we had budgeted for the year and what we reasonably think that we were going to get. So we revised it for the COVID effects, like, our meetings that are usually in person, we revised them to be Zoom meetings and things like that. So copies are available to members only at request. And to do that, you got to contact Jennifer Costello. Membership and marketing. Tiffany's going to be looking at focusing on retention and recruitment. Her plan is to go to some local colleges and schools and other organizations and get them involvement going, maybe some partnerships with ABC or AGC, and then try to come up with new ideas for networking during COVID, because right now, if you want to network in Nashville, it's 8 people or less. And so that's kind of hard to do. Our PD&E, I don't know if y'all saw, but we started January 6th in the newsletter with still for the second round of selling the bottles of wine. It was brought to my attention when I sent out the email that I did not put the price on there. You get a bottle of wine, either a Chardonnay or a Cabernet, and a Demas's gift card for $50. The total package is $70. And we are one bottle away from breaking even. So whatever anyone buys from here on out goes directly to the scholarships. So it really helps, and getting, those scholarships help tradeswomen, helps colleges, helps all the above. The nominating committee, Jennifer Camargo is over that, and she'll be reaching out to members to be on the committee. But also, if you want to be on the board, you can contact Jennifer Camargo and, ask, say, hey, I want to be on the committee. She can look, depending if you'll be a director or secretary or any of those, she can send you the job description. Sorry, my mind just left me. So we'll be on the lookout for that. The voting will be in May, and we have to, no, the slate comes out in May. We have to vote. Oh, Ashley, Am I right on that?
Slate will come out in May. The voting will happen the membership meeting in June,
Okay.
and
So
then
the slate will come out in May. Voting will be at the membership meeting in June. Hopefully we'll be in person by then.
you have July and August to orientate the new board for a September kickoff.
Right. And then strategic board meeting and all that. Cool. Thank you, ma'am. Women in Construction Week is well into the planning stages. They've got 2 things already confirmed, working on some more things. Most of it's going to be yeah, Zoom or kind of those kind of things, because with it being like we don't know we're going to be in March. We're going to be air on the safer side. And I totally don't have the date on that. I went to 21, not 2001. Ooh, flew back in time. The listing of all the events will be in our newsletter, and then you'll get individual invites for them. And just to be on the lookout, there's some great ideas out of the WIC Week committee. And then onto our Women Build Hanotype Community Build. It will be the May 1st weekend is our date. And we have raised collectively $8,026 out of the $7,875 that we needed. So we overshot. So good, well going. Thanks, girls, ladies, all the above. We'll have 24 volunteers. And a volunteer sign up will start in February. They're trying to roll it out and get it ready. So I will be sending out an email and a sign up, the sign up website at the same time. And then Block Kids, we are in touch with St. Edward's, and they are in person, but they're smaller classes. We're in touch with our national board if we can still do that, because they want us to do it virtually. So we're trying to get finalization on that, but it should be fairly soon. And then for our future meetings, our February speaker is being confirmed, and we'll probably have that invite out by the end of the week. And of course, March is WIC Week. April the 8th. We have Amber Hurdle as a speaker. She has a book coming out as well, and leadership. It's going to be very good. And then, of course, our May Women Habitat Community. So we're planned out almost to June, ladies. So we're going. And that is enough of me. Oh, shoot. Okay, you now can take it away, Diane. Oh, wait. Sorry. One more thing. I want us to all introduce ourselves. So I'll I guess I can introduce you and you can wave. How about that? We'll kind of, our speaker is Diane. Diane, say your last name.
Laba.
She is our speaker. She formerly worked for Rogers Group and has retired to do this. And I'm very interested and very excited. Yeah, I'm Andrea Nicholson Ward. I'm your president. Next, we have Michelle Fox. She's with Haven Builders. And then we have Amy Sampson. She is with Messer Construction. Okay. There we go. Then we have Kim Willis. She was with DR
Nickel Company.
Nickel Company.
I'm driving.
Then we have Marsha Brighton, who is also with Rogers. And then Jen is out of the Neighborhood Boston chapter. And Jen, if you can just unmute yourself and tell us, why'd you join us?
Hi, I'm Jen Demetrius. I'm out of the Boston chapter. I am the Boston chapter president. I was so happy that all the presidents started circulating the events that were coming up because this topic really just seemed very interesting. So I had the time, so I figured I would join in and see how the Nashville ladies do their meetings.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Leanne Watson. She's with T.W. Frierson. And then this is a new person. So we have J.D. Kennedy. Is that correct? And where are you from, ma'am? Are you in Nashville?
I am not. I am thinking about joining, I believe it's the Dallas chapter.
So you're on to hear and see what all of the rest of us are doing. So cool.
Yeah.
Well,
just
welcome
how
aboard.
you guys do business.
Next, we have Tiffany Collins, who's also with Messer Construction. And then Wendy Whitmore with, is it Aerial Southeast or do I say Southeast? Yeah, it's Aerial Innovation Southeast. I get it backwards.
Aerial Innovation Southeast, yeah.
Next, we have Shannon Warner. And Shannon, tell us about yourself because you're new on my list.
I'm Shannon Warner from ServPro. I'm here in Nashville. Glad to be here.
Well, welcome aboard and thank you. Next, we've got, and she just left her desk. Skipper.
That Nikki? Yeah. This is
all right. I just had to shut my door.
Next, we have Nikki Reiner. She's with Aerial Innovation Southeast as well. Next is Nicole Jenkins with Rogers Group. Constance Fraley, is that right?
Yeah.
And Constance, where are you from?
Oklahoma City.
Ooh, nice. We got Dallas and Boston and Oklahoma City.
Thank you for inviting us.
Hey, I'm getting invited to a lot of them, so totally great. Next we have our Vice President, Ashley Spence. There she is. Fellow board member with us as well, Sarah Wagner. She's with T.W. Frierson.
Hi guys.
And then Haley Neal. I think she's new from Rogers Group as well. I'm almost done. And next we have Kristen Ragasta. I hope I didn't mess that up. Kristen,
hi. My name is Kristen. I'm from Boston as well. Sorry, I don't have my camera on. I'm here with my kids zooming and my son nursing, and so I'm just gonna stay on mute and learn about how to be my best self.
Hey, it's what it
Sounds like
is.
a plan.
Next, we have one of our new members with Whiting Turner, Trisha Wazowski.
Wazowski. It was close. It was almost Mike Wazowski, so you almost got there. That's what I always compare it to.
And then Melissa Smithson, I'm guessing. It just says Melissa on my side. Or Melissa Allen. Didn't know I had two registered.
That's me. Sorry, I was taking a call.
No, you're fine. That's Melissa Allen. Okay, cool.
I'm here.
And then last is Jamie Holmes. So it's a little longer when we do it on here, but I want everybody to still meet everybody. Hold on, move my chat. Okay. So now that we've introduced ourselves and welcome everybody, I'm going to turn it over to Diane.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I'm going to share my screen. I think. Okay, is everyone seeing the slide, how to be the best version of you?
Yep.
Good, I'm seeing nodding heads. This is good, good, excellent. We are off to a good start. Like I said, ladies, I'm really excited to be here. I love sharing this information because it's had such a positive impact on my own life and the people that I've shared it with already. And a special thanks to Andrea for making this opportunity available to me. Today, I am committed to providing information that's going to help you be the best version of you. But for that to happen, I need you, as you're listening, to look for where you see this information, both in your own life and in the lives of the people that are most important to you. If you will make those connections, you are going to retain so much more of what I share with you than if you just look at this like a course and try to take notes. Now, specifically today, we are talking about something called transition time. I am going to unpack that for you. I'm going to tell you what it is and how it impacts each of us. Now, because of our time constraints, we're going to focus solely on transitions that happen in our everyday lives. I am not talking about big life transitions today. So what do I mean by daily transitions? When you wake up in the morning, it's a transition. When you have to answer a phone call, when you've been focused on producing some sort of result, a project, a meeting, something like that. When you have to go out to a meeting, when you stop and go out and exercise, when you get to a restaurant, all of those are transitions. Now, we'll just get right to the point here. Why would we want to invest the time and the energy to learn about transition time and make the choice to support it? Well, it's to hold space for both you and those around you to be the best versions of themselves. When we look for and support transition time, we create space for greater connection, better responses, better results, and better relationships. Does that interest you? I hope so. The first thing we need to look at to talk about transition time is we need to set a foundational piece. It's operating modes. As you can see on the screen right now, there's two of them, hunting mode and gathering mode. Now, both genders can operate in either one of these modes, and neither mode is better than the other mode. They're just simply different. You can look at it like Mac and PC or iPhone and Android. They're just different. You're going to be able to get the same results. You're just going to get there differently. Now, most men, most of the time, are going to default to hunting mode, and that's because they have higher testosterone levels, which produces one of the things we're going to talk about, single focus. Now, most women, most of the time, will default to gathering mode because we have naturally higher levels of estrogen. Now, one thing that estrogen does for us is it makes it possible for we women to switch very quickly from hunting mode to gathering mode. And I'm going to provide a couple of examples of how that impacts the people around us after we review the actual attributes of each of these modes. We're going to talk about hunting mode first. I mentioned testosterone and single focus, but both men and women can definitely operate in hunting mode. Most of you ladies that I saw today were sitting in an office, so I know you are familiar with having to produce a specific result. That is single focus. It's not a single thing, right? You may have to get out month-end statements, and there are a lot of different things you have to focus on to get those statements out. Now, men get dissed for this a lot. They can only think about a single thing, and it's not true. They're thinking about a single goal. Maybe the goal is they're a coach, and it's to have a winning season. Maybe they're a surgeon and it's to have successful surgery. There's a lot of things they're thinking about, but it's the single goal that's important. And if any details come into their sphere that aren't relevant to that goal, they're just naturally screened out. I want you to think about yourselves. When you are producing a goal and you're focused on it, and someone walks up to you, very likely they startle you, right? And you did not consciously screen out their approach. It happens by default when you are in single focus. If it's not relevant to what you're producing, it just doesn't matter. And that goes to the next thing, which is our mindset when we're in hunting mode. And it's very committed, right? You're going to achieve that goal, or you're going to get to that destination or cause that result. That's the last thing. That's how we spend our energy when we are in hunting mode. Results, destinations, and intentions. Let's compare that to gathering mode. They're very different. Our focus when we are in gathering mode, we call it diffuse awareness. Our awareness literally spreads out in every direction. You take in every single detail. And what's so different from hunting mode is when you're in gathering mode, every detail becomes relevant. Have you ever had that sensation that you've taken in all these details and you just have to share them? Well, it actually goes back to the time of this cartoon. We're still carrying those instincts around inside of us. When you had to get food, you had to collect every detail of where were the ripe berry bushes? What field were they in? If they weren't ripe now, when would they be ripe? Was there something poisonous wrapped around the bush so you wouldn't want to touch those berries? Were there animal tracks around so that were telling you to get the heck out of there or you might not survive? That's how details take on so much importance when we are in gathering mode. And that filters down to our mindset. We're in gathering mode. You're completely open and you're uncommitted because every moment you're taking in more details. You're gathering more information, and that comes to how you spend your energy when you're in gathering mode. You are thinking about options and alternatives and possibilities because you just keep taking in more details, which makes more things possible. Now, just knowing these facets of the modes, there's a lot more facets. Can you see how interactions with a person could be very, very different just depending on what mode they were operating in? Can you see how misunderstandings or friction could happen? You might walk up to someone who's in hunting mode and they're very abrupt with you. That doesn't feel good. And you think, well, what's their problem? Nothing really, they're just in hunting mode. Now, I mentioned that women's higher levels of estrogen allow us to switch very, very quickly between these two modes. And Kristen, you mentioned you are a nursing mother at home. You would be just a perfect example for me today that you can be very focused on producing a result to take care of your child and get their needs met. And then you go over into gathering mode almost instantaneously of taking in all the details of this wondrous moment of this new life and everything about them and all the feelings you're having. And you don't think about it. You just go back and forth very, very quickly. Well, because men have a lot less estrogen than we do, it takes them a lot more time to switch from hunting mode to gathering mode. And they are absolutely amazed by women that we can do it so quickly. But it also perplexes the heck out of them because most men, and most women for that matter, are not aware of these modes. And so what worked with a woman the last time he spoke with her, if she was in hunting mode, she wanted the points, and that worked, and that was great. And the next time he talks to her, she wants all these details. And he's like, what happened? Where did the person go that wanted the points? He doesn't know why. Now, a real simple example of where people in hunting mode and people in gathering mode can have some friction just quite unintentionally is like going out for dinner. You're in the car, You've decided that, let's say there's a restaurant here called Jason's that has soup and salad, and the woman has told the man that's what she'd like for dinner. So he is now in hunting mode. He has the goal of getting them to Jason's to get her the dinner she wants. And as they're driving down the road, she sees another chain restaurant, maybe Chuy's, that has soup and salad, and she goes, oh, ooh, that might be good too, because really I wanted soup and salad and I could get it at other place. So she says something to the man driving the car. Well, what do you think about going to Chuy's? Well, he's in hunting mode. He has a goal. And he just goes, wait, what? What? Did the goal just change? What's the goal? I thought the goal was Jason's. What? Are we changing the goal? And all of a sudden there's tension and friction and sometimes even fights. And you don't even know what's happened. It's just the two modes basically knocking heads. And it's not just the men in our lives that we perplex when we can switch so quickly. We perplex the heck out of our children. One woman, when I was teaching her this information, her eyes just got wide and she looked at me and she says, oh, my daughter. And I said, well, what about your daughter? Well, this woman is a professional author. She works out of her home. And she says, when my daughter knocks on the door, she doesn't know if she's going to get Hunter Mommy or Gatherer Mommy. Right? Hunter Mommy might be really short with her. Like, what do you need? Gatherer Mommy might be, oh, sweetheart, I'm so happy to see you. Tell me about your day. So if the people around us, as well as ourselves, can be aware of these modes, we can get rid of a lot of unnecessary friction and hurt feelings. Now, I want you to specifically think about a time you've been in hunting mode and you were interrupted. I want you to think about how that felt. Chances are it's not a really pretty picture, but that's okay. You're not going to have to share. But I do want you to put a pin in that and remember it, because we're going to come back to it a little bit further on into the teaching. And before we move on, I just want to bring your attention. Can you see how being aware of these modes would actually make you a more effective driving force, both in your professional life and in your personal life? I hope you can see it. It's hard because I can't hear your feedback, but we'll move on. Transition time. What is it? Well, specifically, it is a function of what we just discussed about hunting mode. Specifically, you have to change where that focus is directed. It would be really simple if all the transitions in our lives were as simple as this green line. But actually, our focus on A, when we have to take it from A and move it to B, looks a lot more like this purple arrow. They vary a whole lot depending on what you're coming from and what you're going to. What's consistent about transition time is you can recognize that you or someone else needs transition time by looking for that single focus. If you can see that in someone, you know they need transition time. Now, when I was doing my research, when I was doing my training, one man shared with me that he learned a really simple yet profound lesson about transition time when he was a child and they moved to a new house. And he learned the lesson from his cat. The lesson was, people just need time to settle in or they get all hissy. In order to switch successfully from focus A to focus B, there has to be this space. It can be mental, physical, emotional, maybe a combination of all three. But what that space is going to do is it's going to push out all the data about A so that you can reset and have the capacity to focus on B. Now, sometimes what does that is actually more data. But the difference is the data that's coming in is you have no responsibility about it. You have to make no decisions about it. It acts like a plunger. You can think of it like something like Facebook or a sports feed, or for me, it's Hallmark movies. You don't have to do anything with that data. It just kind of pushes out what you've been thinking about, and you can reset and be ready for the next thing. Now, one woman described being in hunting mode and having to switch her focus this way. She said, my brain is too full of one thing to see what else needs to be done. Can you relate? Well, not only do people in hunting mode need transition time, but only the hunter, be they male or female, knows what that transition time specifically needs to be for them. A young man, 30 years old, on my research panel put it this way. He says, where we have disagreements is how I spend my transition time. Now, transitions come in all different types and sizes, and we're going to talk about several of the more common ones here and what happens when they get interrupted. So this first one we're talking about, from home to work. We all do it. I'll give you a second to look at this cartoon and read it. And it won't take you long to figure out which one is you, right? Can you see how the from makes a huge difference in what the transition needs to be? And can you see how you or your coworkers transition time from home to work? It could change every day depending on what you're leaving when you leave home. Now, I asked a man in his mid-20s on my research panel, what capacities do you lose if you don't get transition time when you arrive at work? He said, I do the immediate versus the important. Well, I waited to see if he had anything else to say, and he did. He said, if I don't settle in, I feel like I'm part of the river of the moment. But if I'm settled in, I feel like I have more of a grip and I'm able to be in a boat. I'm still in the flow, but I have more control and it feels safer to me. Now, which version of this person would you like to work with or have as an employee? All right. The transition from work to family. I found this little cartoon and I kind of thought probably several of us have had this conversation at the end of the day, so I thought I'd share it. But I asked a late 20s male member of my research panel what he needed to transition from work to his family. He said, I need time to have no responsibility and do nothing. And he described what it looks like to me as he comes home, he quickly connects with his wife and his kids, and then he spends 20 to 30 minutes out on his porch alone. I asked him, who can you be if you get that time? He said, I can be present. I can take genuine interest in what they want to say to me. And I can intentionally love rather than passively. Now that's a person I would like to spend the evening with. How about you? Sometimes transitions like this from work to family that happen so much, people actually create kind of a ritual around them, doing the same thing every time the transition happens. And one 40-year-old man told me his family knows they will not get much out of him until he can shower and recompose himself and be ready for the next moment in life. I want you to think, what would help you transition from work to home so you could intentionally love the people around you? Okay, this is not a typo, ladies. Transition from work to work. Anybody been in one of these meetings? Today's meeting is going to go all day with 30-minute break for lunch. And then sometimes you don't even get that break. They just bring in catering and you just keep going, right? Well, think about it. During that time, you're in hunting mode. You're producing a result, but chances are the result may be changing as the day progresses. How do you switch successfully from focus A to focus B? Well, a male in his mid-50s on my research panel told me his thoughts were, he definitely sees the need for everyone to have transition time. The trouble is we just don't get it, and it stresses everyone. Can you relate? Now, I have been responsible for managing CEO calendars for over 25 years. And shortly after becoming certified to teach this topic, I spoke with my current boss and I said, I think we need to intentionally schedule transition time into your calendar. I gave him a little bit of time to think about it. He came back to me and said, if you think we need to do it, let's do it. And we did. Well, a few months later, during my annual review, he looked at me and he told me, you are a master scheduler. Adding that transition time to my calendar has helped me so much in the past year. It became our norm, so much so that when I retired this past December, that was actually part of what I trained my successor to do, was intentionally schedule transition time. Well, we've talked about going from place to place. Let's talk about actually transitioning from hunting mode to gathering mode. Can you see the difference in her demeanor, her focus, and her openness? I asked a 40-year-old man on my research panel, he works out of his home. I said, if you're interrupted and a transition is demanded of you and you don't have time to transition, what can't you be? He said, kind. I really have to suppress my urge to fight back. My initial urge is to fight for my space and for what is important to me in that moment. Are you starting to see how looking for transition time and honoring transition time could really impact your lives for the better? Well, my friend Heather did too. Heather runs a business, and she told me that most of the time during the day when things would pop up and interrupt her, she'd just get really frustrated and angry and short with people. And then shortly after that, she would be berating herself and telling herself for what a jerk she is. Well, I taught her about transition time and how it creates this space for both ourselves and the people around us to be the best version of ourselves. In a few days after we had our class together, she sent me an email and shared with me some of the changes she's noticing in her own life. She said that, you know, my brain does need a little break when I go from the focusing on one thing to focusing on another. And when I do that, I do my best work. And she's noticed that if she gives herself the time to leave work and go home and do some end of day transition rituals before she goes to her exercise class, she gets so much more out of her class than if she just goes straight work, exercise. And last, but definitely not least, the light bulb went on for Heather that even though she's been really good at thinking about timing and when she needs things from other people, how to schedule it, she's just now realizing that she needs other people to consider timing when they need things from her. She told me, she says, oh, when I come in the morning and my arms are full and I'm trying to get in the door, I'm trying to get my door unlocked and somebody is in my face with a problem before I can even set my purse down, it drives me nuts. She said, I'm understanding myself a little better and why that's happening. I understand that I need more time to go from one thing to the next and that it's okay to need that time. I may not be such a jerk after all. Well, ladies, if we could help one another to not be jerks, would it be worth it to learn about partnership choices that we could make to help one another have transition time? That picture is from the ballet Romeo and Juliet. And it occurred to me that the ballet is actually one transition after another. And those transitions do not happen randomly. They are intentional and they are choreographed. And the result is amazing. If we choose to be intentional about looking for and supporting transition time for ourselves and for the people around us, the results can be amazing as well. Let's look at some choices we can make. You can ask, how can I support you to have the transition time you need? Or you can tell other people, I need you to support me so I have this transition time because I can be this person if I get it. Remember, only the person that is in hunting mode knows what they need to actually transition. Now that next bullet point, I want you to think back where I asked you to put a pin in that feeling of when you were interrupted, when you were really focused and trying to accomplish a goal. I asked a man what that was like for him. And he said, it's like when something comes crashing in. Does that line up with how it felt for you? That brings up the next point. If you're aware of what you need for transition time or what somebody else needs for transition time and what it's like when you are interrupted when you're in hunting mode, you can make much better choices about when and how you speak to people. It's co-creating transition space for one another. One man on my research panel told me about he and his wife and how this worked out for them is that they love to entertain. They have people into their homes and they do all the cooking. And he noticed like his wife would really enjoy the process of creating the meal and the goal of having this dinner until the people arrived. And once the people arrived, she'd get really agitated about the work that needed to be done for dinner. So he had the idea and told her that, look, as soon as people arrive, I'll take over. You are free to go and connect with everyone that's arriving, and I'll make sure the dinner gets on the table. Can you see how it was a win-win for both of them? She got to switch over, connect with all the people around her, find out the details about their lives and what was going on with them. He got to stay in hunting mode and produce the result of a dinner for his wife, their friends, and making his wife happy. Definitely a win-win, right? Now, the next point, remember who they can be. That's why you want to do this. Remember the man who said that he could listen to what they want to say and he could be present and he could love intentionally? That's why you do these things. So people are the best version of themselves. And that last bullet point, find out who you can be if you look for where you need transition time in your life. Bob listened to my class and he shared with me that after the fact, he had always had the habit of hitting his snooze button for 10 more minutes of sleep in the morning. And then he'd have to rush to get ready for work. But after this class, he realized that going from being asleep to being awake was actually a transition, and he decided to try something different. He found out that if he gave himself time to stretch and do some exercises and go at a slower pace, it was actually a lot more helpful than those 10 extra minutes of sleep. It became clear to him that he was creating his stressful start to his day by hitting that snooze button. He said, knowing about transition time has helped me be kinder to myself, and that makes me a kinder and better person at my job. In closing, ladies, I would leave you with this thought. Life is change. Growth is optional. Choose wisely. What choice are you going to make for yourself and those around you as life changes and transitions occur? Will you honor that process in order to hold space for more connection and better results and better responses and better relationships? Or will you choose to fight the process? That choice is yours with every transition. I want to thank you for your time today. This last slide is how you can contact me. I have some very good news. The book at the bottom of this slide, Connecting the Present to the Past to Find Hope for Your Future, is free for you taking the time to attend today. You can go on Amazon and get the ebook for free. That offer expires at midnight tonight. You are welcome to share this offer with your colleagues, your friends, and your family. And if you are interested in more of my teaching, I have 9 complete classes that I teach. You can visit the services page on my website, listed there in the bottom left corner, to find out about classes and coaching. And one little caveat with the classes, if you would like to do this with a group of women, you are most welcome to do that, to share the cost. I teach via Zoom, so we can accommodate as many people as you'd like to be in your class. Thank you so much, and I will stop sharing and turn this back over to Andrea.
So does anybody have any questions or comments? I know my transition time, I used to hate the drive from Nashville to Lebanon, and both ways coming into work, it's my transition time from life to work. So I start thinking about what I need to do and plan. And then on the way home, it is, I leave work and I decompress that out. And by the time I get home, I'm like, hey, honey. So I just didn't know that was transition time for me. So thanks for pointing that out.
It's important to notice because a lot of people don't have that now. They're not commuting. And they have to, like for myself, you have to step out that door and all of a sudden be a different person. You need to be consciously giving yourself some space to do that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jan.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to comment on that. My best friend and I were actually talking yesterday about how she was reading an article, how people, because they're working from home or their commutes are so much shorter, that they're like creating commutes now for themselves. So they have that transition time when they leave work, because that was their downtime for when they got home.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was really interesting.
For me, at home, my husband and I, we work for the same company, Mobile Mini. And so we get off around the same time. So when he comes in, you know, I'm in the room in my office, he'll come in, give me a kiss, and then we don't talk for about an hour. We don't even like try to be in the same room for like an hour. Mm-hmm. And then we come together. So yeah, I just didn't know that was what that was.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's important to realize, because if either one of the people in the partnership don't realize it and they've had a long day and they want attention when you get home, and it's like, you're going to get a much better person if you give them time to transition, and you're going to get better quality of attention. It's not personal. It's not they don't want to be with you. They simply don't have the capacity to be with you.
Andrea, how soon is this going to be available to see again? Because the hubby needs to sit down and watch this too.
Yes, it is applicable. Yes.
I've got to save it to my my OneDrive, and then when I get home tonight, Zoom calls are so big, I have to condense them down before I can post it on our YouTube channel. But so by tonight when I leave, but it'll be later on tonight. So probably check in the morning. I'll probably have it done by 10:30, 11, but yeah.
I'm happy to give it a couple days. You're fine.
Yeah. Hello. Can you share the link to the book separately? Because I couldn't click on it with my notepad.
No, yeah, we are actually going to send out a link right after this. Sorry. That she sent it to me separately, so I will send it to y'all with those who originally sign in, and then you can share with anybody and everybody on it. Anybody else? Well, then I did skip, and I think it's a great way to close our meeting. Amy Sampson had our inspiration, and she was supposed to do it at the beginning of the meeting, and I kind of skipped her. Sorry, Amy.
It's okay. I don't know how many of you listen to Brene Brown's podcasts, but here's a quote from Brene Brown. Vulnerability is not about fear and grief and disappointment. It is the birthplace of everything we're hungry for.
Ooh,
Love it.
I like that.
Yeah.
What a way to end. That's all. Maybe I should put the inspiration at the end more often. Well, does anybody have anything else they need or want or anything like that?
I just wanted to say thank you to the Nashville ladies. This was really interesting and fun to see what you guys do. And everyone says that Boston people have accents. You guys have all the accents.
Oh, we know.
It was fun hearing the accents.
Well, Jen, I'm originally from New Hampshire, so I was just north of you not too long ago. So
Yeah, but she's starting to get the southern drawl. Don't let her lie to you.
My son says I'm getting it now.
I'm originally
Lady.
from Canada, ladies, and when I go home, they say I sound like a Southern belle. And when I live in Tennessee, they say you're not from around here.
Where in Canada?
London, Ontario.
I'm from Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh, excellent. A little colder than London for sure.
Yeah. My son's in hip deep snow right now.
Ooh, yeah, no, I don't miss that. It's 45 degrees here and sunny.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. I send him sunny pictures all the time. Used to be mean.
Okay, ladies. Well, thank you again for joining us. And again, Diane, thank you so much. This was a very good look at things that I need to do more of. And even if it's split second, when someone walks in my office, I need to acknowledge it and kind of go, hold on, let me finish what I'm doing. Deep breath. How can I help you?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And ladies, if you think of questions, my email is on that last slide. Please email me. I'd be happy to answer your questions.
And I'll include it in the Amazon link that I'm getting ready to send out after a meeting. Well, then it is 1:58. We finished 2 minutes early.
Yay!
Have a good rest of the day, ladies. It was so good to see a lot of your faces. I can't wait to see them in person.
Group
It'll
hugs when
happen.
we do.
It will happen sooner or later.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye,
everybody. Thank you.